The day was too peaceful for death. Birds were chirping over the open-air cafe. The sky was a clear, soft blue, sunlight warm enough to make the metal chairs glow. People talked, laughed, stirred their drinks, completely unaware that everything was about to shatter. And then she saw it. A red dot. Small. Sharp. Trembling slightly on the forehead of the man sitting only 3 tables away. Alira froze. The world didn't slow down, it sharpened. The sunlight became too bright. The air felt too thin. Her heartbeat turned into a drum that shook her bones. That red dot. That wasn't a trick of light. That wasn't a reflection. That was a sniper sight. But the man sitting there didn't notice. He didn't flinch. He didn't touch his head. He just sat casually with one hand wrapped around a small white coffee cup. The infamous Mafia boss, Dario Leone. No one else noticed the danger. No one else saw the glint on the rooftop across the plaza, or the faint reflection on the glass window behind him. Just Alira. Her body moved on instinct. She stood. Her legs shook. She walked toward him with small steps, almost like a child afraid to interrupt an adult. He didn't look at her. She didn't look at him. She leaned in, her voice barely a breath. "Smile like it's a joke," she whispered. "Red dot on your head." The words trembled out of her. Not loud, not dramatic, just desperate. Dario didn't react the way any sane person would. He smiled. A slow, calculated, dangerous smile. Then, without looking at her, his voice dropped to a low whisper only she could hear. "Stay, please." Alira's breath caught in her throat. Why did he sound almost soft? Before she could question it, the cafe umbrella above them ripped open with a violent crack. A bullet. A real one. The sound split the air like lightning. Dario grabbed Alira's wrist and yanked her down beside him as another bullet tore through the chair she'd been standing next to. Screams erupted around them. People ran in every direction. Tables flipped. Glass shattered. The peaceful day turned into a battlefield in seconds. Alira hit the ground, palms scraping against the cement, heart exploding in terror. Another bullet slammed into a metal pole, sparks flying. Dario kept one hand pressed on the back of her head, forcing her down low, keeping her hidden with his own body as cover. "Who sent you to warn me?" He breathed sharply into her ear. His voice was deep, urgent, accusing, as if she were part of this. But she didn't get to answer, not yet, because more bullets began to rain. Dario's men appeared out of nowhere. 4 of them stormed onto the cafe terrace like shadows, guns drawn, assessing rooftops, scanning windows. "Elio, cover the left. Moro, the cafe roof, Gio. Boss, stay low." Alira's pulse hammered in her skull. This wasn't supposed to happen. She was supposed to walk past this cafe, grab a sandwich, and go home to her boring, quiet life of handwriting analysis and pattern research. She never expected to talk to the Mafia boss. She never expected to save him. And she definitely never expected to be on the ground right next to him, almost pinned beneath him as bullets cut through the afternoon air. Dario finally released her and grabbed her chin suddenly, forcing her eyes to look at him. His voice was low, barely controlled. "Who sent you?" "And no one," Alira stammered. "I'm not. I just saw the light." "What light?" "The laser. The sniper sight. From the roof." Dario's jaw tightened. "You shouldn't be able to see that from here." "But I did." "Impossible." Another bullet slammed into the stone wall behind them. Alira covered her head instinctively. Dario pulled her again, dragging her behind a thick brick column as more of his men formed a shield around them. She tried to breathe, tried to think, tried not to cry. He looked at her again, studying her face like she was a coded message he was trying to break. "How did you know?" Dario asked again, quieter this time. I look for patterns," she whispered. "Reflections. Angles. My job is to notice small things." "What job?" "Police handwriting analyst." Dario blinked once. Then he let out a short, humorless sound. "You're a very strange woman." "Thanks?" she squeaked, not sure if he meant it as an insult or compliment. Another bullet hit close enough to make her gasp. Dario didn't flinch. "Elio," he barked. "Is it 1 shooter or more?" "2 on the rooftops," one of his men shouted. "But the angles are wrong. They're not aiming to kill you. They're trying to box you in." "Box him in?" Alira's stomach dropped. "Your men are too slow," she whispered. Dario raised an eyebrow. "Excuse me?" Alira pointed at the corner of the rooftop. The second shooter moved. The shadow angle shifted. "He's relocating to get a clearer shot." Dario's eyes widened a fraction. How do you see that? I told you I observe patterns. Dario grabbed her wrist again. You're coming with me. What? WI? No, I'm not. Because someone wants me dead, and you're the only one who saw them before the shot was fired. Another bullet cracked the pavement inches from them. Elira flinched. Dario's voice hardened. Move. She moved. Because she didn't want to die. Because her legs acted faster than her thoughts. Because the world was falling apart around them. Dario pulled her behind him as his men formed a protective formation. Cars at the back, someone shouted. Go! Dario shoved Elira forward, guiding her with a strong arm around her shoulders. She stumbled but kept running, heart rattling inside her ribs. They burst through the back of the cafe, pushing past terrified chefs and waiters hiding under tables. Pots clanged, plates shattered. This way. The black armored SUV was parked slightly crooked in the alley, engine running, doors open. Elira hesitated. Every instinct screamed at her to run the opposite direction. She shouldn't go inside a mafia boss's car. She shouldn't stay with people who had just been targeted. She shouldn't be doing any of this. Dario noticed her hesitation. He leaned close, eyes sharp. Get in the car. I don't belong in. You saved my life. His voice lowered. And that puts a target on your back too. Her blood turned cold. Wow, why? Because whoever wants me dead will assume you're with me now. Elira's breath stopped. Dario continued, voice tight. Either get in the car and stay alive, or stay here and pray they don't shoot you next. Elira felt the earth tilt under her feet. This wasn't her world. This wasn't her fight. She didn't even know this man. But the snipers, the red dot, the shifting shadows, the shooters who weren't aiming to kill him immediately. Something bigger was happening. Something she had accidentally stepped into. And maybe it wasn't an accident at all. Dario placed one hand gently, too gently, on her shoulder. His voice softened. Please. Elira swallowed hard. Then she climbed into the car. The door slammed shut behind her. The city outside blurred as the SUV sped away, leaving behind broken glass, scattered tables, and a red laser dot still glowing faintly on the cafe floor. The last thing she saw before the alley disappeared. A small piece of paper drifting under a table. A note, written in shaky handwriting. 3 words she couldn't ignore, even from a distance. Not you too. As the car races away, Dario turns to Elira, eyes narrowed. Now tell me the truth, he says quietly. Why did you really warn me? Elira's heart stops. Because she doesn't want to tell him the truth, that this wasn't the first time she had seen a red dot like that. Not even close. The engine roared as the SUV sliced through the narrow streets, tires screeching against concrete. Elira pressed herself against the seat, trying to breathe normally, but her chest felt too tight, like someone had wrapped a hand around her lungs. The men in the front seats scanned the mirrors constantly. No one spoke, except Dario. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, eyes fixed on her like she was a code he needed to break. Start talking, he said calmly. Too calmly. Why did you warn me? And don't lie. I'll know. Elira swallowed hard. Her throat felt sand dry. I told you, she whispered. I saw the red dot. I just reacted. You reacted before the shot was even fired. She froze. Because he was right. She had stood up before the umbrella ripped, before any sound, any scream, any chaos. She clasped her hands tightly. I don't know. But she did know. And she didn't want to say it. Not yet. Dario leaned back slowly, studying her. Elira, he said her name softly. That's your name, isn't it? She blinked. How do you? Your badge fell out of your bag when you hit the ground. I saw it. Her bag lay at her feet, half open, notebooks spilling out. Elira Voss, he said, repeating her full name. Handwriting analyst for the Karachi Police Department. Specialized in encoded messages. Elira clenched her jaw. Don't say it like it's a crime. Dario tilted his head slightly. In my world, police and criminals breathe the same air. Everyone's a suspect unless proven otherwise. Elira looked away, heat creeping up her neck. Every cell in her body screamed to get out of this car. She had no business here. No connection to these men. No right to be sitting next to the most feared man in the city. And yet, her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Not from fear of him, but from something older. Something deeper. That red dot. She had seen it before. Dario watched her carefully. I know what fear looks like, he said quietly. This isn't it. You aren't scared of me. Elira stiffened. Are you scared of whoever shot at me? He asked. She didn't answer. He leaned closer. You should be. They don't miss. And they don't leave witnesses. Elira hugged her arms around herself. She hadn't wanted to be a witness. She hadn't wanted to see anything. She just noticed things. Always had. Patterns, light shadows. Details other people missed. And that note, Dario added. The paper under the table. You looked at it. Her heart stopped for a second. You saw that? She whispered. I see everything, he replied. What did it say? Tell me. Alira hesitated. She didn't want to say it, but the words wouldn't leave her mind. Not you too. The SUV hit a speed bump too fast, jostling them. But it wasn't the bump that made Daria's eyes sharpen, it was the note. Alira watched him carefully. You know what it means, don't you? She said softly. His jaw tightened. No, he lied. She could tell. He absolutely knew, and that terrified her more than the bullets. The SUV turned sharply into a narrow alley and came to a sudden stop inside a half-burned parking garage. Concrete walls, metal beams, flickering lights, cold and hidden. Dario opened his door. Out, he said. Alira hesitated. Where are we? A safe house, he said. Temporary. And you're safer inside than out. One of his men opened the back door for her. Another scanned the upper levels with a rifle. Alira stepped out slowly, looking around. Everything smelled like dust and oil. The structure felt abandoned, forgotten, like a skeleton of a building. Dario placed a hand gently on her back, guiding her toward the elevator. She froze at the touch. He removed his hand instantly. Relax, he said, almost annoyed at himself. I'm not going to hurt you. I know, Alira whispered. He raised a brow. Alira blinked fast. That slipped out too naturally. She didn't even know why she said it. I mean, you didn't seem like the type to. To hurt someone who just saved you. Dario stared at her. And what type do I seem like? She bit her lip. She shouldn't say it. She really shouldn't. But her mouth moved anyway. Someone who doesn't want to be alone. Silence. The kind that made the air heavy. Dario didn't break eye contact. Not once. Then he turned away sharply. Get in. The elevator creaked its way up to the 4th floor. One of his men, a tall guy with a scar across his eyebrow, stood beside them, gun in hand. Alira hugged her bag, gripping it like armor. Dario watched her fingers trembling. You're shaking, he said. I'm not used to people shooting at me. Most people aren't. I'm not most people. I can tell. The elevator doors opened. Metal chairs. A cracked window. A first aid kit. A place designed for questioning. Her throat closed. Dario motioned to a chair. Sit. She didn't move. His voice deepened. Elira. Sit. She sat. He took the chair opposite hers, pulling it close enough that their knees almost touched. Let's begin, he said softly. I don't want to begin anything, she whispered. You already did. His gaze was steady. Too steady. Elira, he said, leaning in slightly. You didn't react like a normal person today. You saw the sniper before the sniper fired. You noticed shadows and angles no one else saw. And when things got loud, you didn't scream. I didn't have time to scream, she muttered. You're lying. He said it so quietly, so simply, it felt like a verdict. Alira's nails dug into her palms. You've seen this before, he continued. Haven't you? Her breath hitched. No. She couldn't say it. She wouldn't say it. But Dario saw the answer in her eyes long before she could deny it. What happened? He asked. Alira closed her eyes. Her mind flashed to a small house. A broken window. A pile of papers scattered on the floor. A shadow on the roof. A red dot moving across a wall. I can't, she said, voice shaking. You can. I don't want to. You need to. Her hands trembled uncontrollably now. Dario steadied her face again, really looked at her, and something changed in his expression. His voice softened, losing all sharpness. Alira, the moment you stood up, you became part of this. Whoever targeted me will assume you know more than you do. She opened her eyes slowly. I know nothing. You know enough to make you a threat, he said. That landed like a stone in her stomach. He leaned in even closer, voice low, almost intimate. If you want to survive this, you need to trust me. Elira almost laughed. A small, broken sound. Trust you? She whispered. You're a Mafia boss. And you're a civilian who somehow predicts sniper angles. His mouth curved slightly. We're both unusual. Trust might be the only thing we have. Her chest tightened. He wasn't wrong. But trust was the one thing she wasn't sure she could give. She looked down at her bag, her notebooks, her files, her mother's handwriting sample tucked between pages. Dario followed her gaze. What's in there? He asked. Nothing you care about. Let me decide. No. Alira. No, she said firmly, clutching the bag. This is the only part of my life that still belongs to me. Dario watched her carefully. Fine, he said finally. You keep your secrets. Her head snapped up in surprise. But, he continued, standing slowly, secrets have consequences. Before she could respond, one of his men rushed into the room, breathless and pale. Boss, he said urgently. We found something on the shooter's rooftop. Dario turned sharply. What? The man extended a small evidence bag. Inside it, a bullet casing, carved with a symbol. Alira's blood drained from her face. She knew that symbol. She had seen it before. On the last piece of paper her mother ever wrote on. Her hands shook violently. The man continued. We think the shooters left it behind intentionally. A message. Dario took the casing, studied it. What kind of message? The man hesitated. Then he answered. A warning, boss. Dario looked at Alira. Alira looked at the casing. The world tilted. The man whispered the last part. It says, she wasn't supposed to be there. Dario's eyes shot to Alira. Her heart dropped, because the symbol carved beneath those words was her mother's. Dario stepped closer to her, voice low, shaken. Alira, why does this symbol match your mother's handwriting? Alira's breath broke. Because now she had to say it. Because whoever shot at you today is the same person who took her. Dario stared at her as if she had just spoken a language no one living should understand. Alira, he breathed, eyes narrowing. Your mother was taken? Alira didn't answer. Not with words. Her silence was enough. Her hands clenched around her bag until her knuckles went white. Her breathing turned shallow. For the first time since the shooting, she looked truly unsteady, as if her entire world had tilted and she didn't know where the ground was anymore. Dario approached slowly. Alira, he said again. Look at me. She lifted her eyes. And he froze. Not because he saw fear, but because he saw rage. Quiet, cold, buried for years, but alive. When? He asked. Her voice cracked. 2 years ago. A beat. How? They said it was a home invasion. Alira looked away. They said she fought, and they took her anyway. They said they couldn't find any leads. Dario listened carefully. But that symbol? She pointed at the casing inside the evidence bag. That wasn't a burglary. That was a signature. From who? He asked quietly. Alira's throat tightened. I don't know. She had spent 2 years drowning in case files, handwriting samples, shadows of people she couldn't name. And today, Dario murmured, the same people targeted me. Alira nodded shackily. And they left her symbol behind for you to see. On purpose. Dario frowned deeply. That means they wanted you involved. I don't want to be involved. She snapped suddenly, voice cracking with pent-up grief. I never wanted any of this. She looked like someone who had been running from a storm for years, and had finally been caught. Dario paced for a moment, trying to assemble the pieces. Elio, he said to his man, any signs the shooter was waiting for her too? Elio shook his head. No, boss. The rooftop had only 2 positions, both angled at you. She was just there. Dario turned back to her. You shouldn't have been. Alira closed her eyes. I know. Why were you? He asked. Alira hesitated. I was supposed to meet someone. A colleague who said he found something about my mother. Dario's gaze sharpened. Who? She swallowed. Detective Haris Malik. Dario stopped moving. Alira, Haris Malik died 3 months ago. Her head jerked up. What? He was found in his car. Engine running. Windows closed. Carbon monoxide. Dario paused. Your department called it an accident. No, Alira whispered, shaking her head. No, he texted me this morning. From his number. He said he found something. He said to meet him at the cafe. Did you confirm it was him? Her lip trembled. No. I trusted the number. I didn't think. She covered her mouth. The truth crashed over her like a wave. I was lured there, she whispered. Not by him. By them. Dario's jaw tightened. They wanted you present when they shot at me. Why? She asked, voice breaking. Why me? Why connect my mother to you? Dario stepped closer. Alira, your mother wasn't just a random victim. She froze. What do you mean? He hesitated, just for a breath, but it was enough. You know something, she whispered. Tell me. Alira, tell me. Dario exhaled slowly, expression darkening. There were rumors, he said carefully, that a woman with exceptional encoding skills helped dismantle a criminal network years ago. Alira blinked. My mother wasn't in that world. She didn't have to be, Dario said. If she had decoding talent, someone may have forced her to work, or punished her for refusing. Alira's breath shook. The symbol on that casing, Dario continued, it belonged to a silent group. No names, no faces. They communicate only through carved symbols. Alira whispered, You know them? I know of them. They're ghosts. They operate behind syndicates and governments. They kill without traces. He lifted her chin gently. And they don't leave messages unless the message is personal. Alira shivered. So what do they want? She asked. Dario's eyes hardened. You. Her heartbeat dropped. Why? Because you're the last thread in whatever they started with your mother. Alira felt dizzy. She sat down, hands covering her face. This is a nightmare, she whispered. It doesn't make sense. Why shoot at you? Why send me? What's the connection between my mother and you? Dario didn't respond immediately. He walked to the window, looking out at the broken parking garage, the flickering streets below. Then he spoke quietly. Alira, my brother disappeared 10 years ago. Without a trace. She slowly looked up. They found his jacket, Dario continued. And inside the pocket a note. What note? He turned toward her, his expression grave. A handwritten message. He held her gaze. In your mother's handwriting. The room went silent. Alira couldn't breathe. What did it say? She whispered. Dario approached her slowly, step by step. It said, he murmured, don't let them find the girl. Alira's heart slammed against her ribs. What girl? She whispered. Dario stared straight into her soul. Q. Alira's vision blurred. No, this can't be. She never told me. She never. She tried to protect you, Dario said softly. And now the people who took her want you too. Alira staggered to her feet, shaking. Why would she know your brother? She cried. Why would she write that? Why? Dario caught her shoulders as she nearly collapsed. Alira, he said firmly, your mother was involved in something much larger than we knew. She pulled away, breath sharp and broken. She was just a teacher. Her voice cracked. She was just my mother. Dario lowered his voice. And she spent her entire life hiding something from you to keep you alive. Alira covered her face again, shoulders trembling. Dario stepped close, not touching, just near enough for her to feel the warmth of someone who understood loss. Alira, he said, we need to find out what she knew, and why they want you. She let her hands fall slowly. Her voice was barely audible. Where do we start? Dario reached into his coat. He pulled out the bullet casing, held it up to the dim light. There's a second symbol carved underneath, he said. Your mother's work always had hidden layers. Alira blinked through tears. I know that pattern, she whispered, stepping closer. It's an angling code. You tilt it in light. She turned the casing slowly, and a new symbol appeared beneath the first. Dario's eyes widened. What is it? He asked. Alira stared at the symbol, breath frozen. She whispered. It's a location marker. Dario stepped forward quickly. Where? Alira's lips parted. It points to a district, no longer on current maps. A place burned down 20 years ago. Dario tensed. Which district? Alira swallowed. District 12. Dario's entire body stiffened. Alira, he said quietly, District 12 is where my brother disappeared. Her knees almost buckled. And, Dario added, voice dropping to a whisper so cold it felt like winter. It's where your mother used to work before you were born. Alira stared at him. No, she whispered. That can't be true. Dario looked at her with an expression she had never seen on him before. Genuine fear. Alira, he said softly, someone inside my organization knew about this before today. She went still. You're saying? Yes, he murmured. There's a traitor. Someone feeding them information. Someone who knew you would be there. Her breath stopped. They send you into the line of fire, Dario whispered. Not to kill you, but to mark you. Alira's voice shook uncontrollably. So what do we do now? Dario stepped close enough that her world shrank to just his voice. We hunt them, he said. Before they hunt you. Before either of them could say another word, a phone buzzed inside Alira's bag. Not her phone. A phone she didn't remember owning. It lit up with a message. From an unknown number. Just 3 words. Hello, Alira. Finally. Dario grabbed it instantly, eyes blazing. How long has this been in your bag? Alira whispered, horrified. I've never seen that phone in my life. The screen flashed again. A second message appeared. Put Dario on. Dario looked at her. Alira looked at him. The phone vibrated a third time. We have your mother. The streets swallowed them whole. Dominic didn't slow down, not even once. Ella held onto his jacket as he pulled her through narrow alleys, past rusted staircases, and into a part of the city she didn't even know existed. The sun was still shining, warm, golden, gentle, but the place they entered felt cold. Wrong. Abandoned. No voices. No footsteps. No life. Just wind brushing against dead windows. Ella looked around, breath shaking. Ella. Where are we? Dominic finally stopped beneath a cracked street sign hanging by one screw. The letters were faded, but Ella could still read them. District OF Ghosts. Dominic exhaled, his jaw tight. Dominic. A place no one comes anymore except the ones with nowhere left to go. He scanned the empty buildings, every shadow, every rooftop. He wasn't afraid of the place. He was afraid of why he had to bring her here. Ella pulled her sleeve closer to her chest, still shaken from the rooftop attack. Ella. Dominic, those men, that sniper, they're not yours, are they? His jaw clenched. Dominic, quiet. No. That single word cut her deeper than gunfire. If they weren't his men, then they were enemies bold enough to move freely on his territory. Dominic reached into his pocket and pulled out a thin metal device. He crushed the micro-tracker found on her sleeve. Dominic, they marked you. They planned every step. Ella's lips trembled. She wasn't built for this world of rifles and shadows and assassins, but it kept dragging her in. She whispered, Ella. Why me? Dominic turned toward her slowly, eyes sharp yet soft, like he was fighting 2 emotions at once. Dominic. Because you were near me. That's all it takes. Ella dropped her gaze. Dominic stepped closer, lowering his voice. Dominic. Don't mistake this, Ella. You didn't bring danger. I did. A cold breeze swept between them. For the first time since they met, Dominic looked almost human. Not the untouchable Mafia boss. Not the monster the city whispered about. Just a man who carried too many ghosts. A whisper of movement echoed in the hollow street. Ella froze. Ella. Dominic, someone's here. Dominic didn't even turn his head. He heard it too. 2 figures stepped out from behind a collapsed bookstore. Faces hidden by scarves. Hands empty, but not empty with intention. Dominic raised his chin. Dominic, you followed me all the way here. Bold. One of the men spoke, voice gravelly. Men. We weren't following you. We were following her. Ella's blood ran cold. Dominic's did too, but in a different way. A sharper, darker way. He stepped in front of her so fast the air shifted. Dominic. Say that again. The man smirked beneath his scarf. Man. The girl. She saw something she shouldn't. We can't let that. The man didn't finish. Dominic moved like lightning. A single punch, hard, fast, merciless, sent the man crashing into a metal dumpster. Ella gasped, not at the violence, but at the fury in Dominic's eyes. Silent fury. Cold fury. Deadly fury. The second man lunged, reaching into his coat. Dominic kicked his knee sideways before he even drew the weapon. The man collapsed, choking on pain. Dominic crouched, gripping his collar tightly. Dominic, look at me. The man refused. Dominic turned his head by force. Dominic, low. Look at me. Ella had never seen him like this. Not angry, but haunted. The man finally met his eyes. Dominic spoke in a whisper too soft for this place. Dominic, who sent you? The man spat blood on the pavement. Min. Someone you should have killed a long time ago. Dominic's grip tightened. Ella stepped forward slowly, voice trembling. Ella. Dominic stopped. His shoulders rose and fell with heavy breaths. Then he let go. The man fell back, coughing. Dominic stood, fists still trembling. Dominic, get out of my sight. The two men limped away, disappearing into the maze of dead buildings. Ella stared at Dominic, breath caught in her throat. Ella, you know who sent them, don't you? Dominic didn't answer, which was the same as saying yes. He guided Ella deeper into the district, toward a sunlit alley where yellow paint peeled off the bricks. The place felt sad, like it remembered something painful. Dominic leaned against the wall, covering his face with both hands. Ella stepped closer. Ella, talk to me, please. Dominic's hands slowly dropped. His expression was unreadable. Dominic, Ella, there's someone in this city people call the ghost. A man who disappears, reappears, kills without being seen. A man who knows every blind spot, every rooftop, every hallway. Ella swallowed. Ella, are they the ones coming after us? Dominic shook his head. Dominic, not them. Ella blinked. Ella. Then who? Dominic stared at the sunlight reflecting on the broken windows. Dominic, a ghost isn't always someone dead. Sometimes it's someone you buried with your own hands. But they crawl back anyway. Ella's lungs tightened. He wasn't talking about enemies. He was talking about someone he once cared for. Ella's voice softened. Ella. Dominic who came back? Dominic didn't look at her, which meant the answer hurt too much to say. He whispered, Dominic, my brother. The world around Ella blurred for a moment. Dominic had a brother? And that brother was hunting him? No, hunting her. Ella. Why would he? Dominic held up a hand. Dominic. Not now. Not here. He took a slow step forward. Then another. Then stopped. His eyes sharpened. Something was wrong. Ella felt it too. A pressure in the air, like someone watching them from a place just out of sight. Dominic scanned the rooftops. Dominic whisper, we're not alone. Ella's heart dropped. Ella, is it your BR? A bullet sliced the air, not hitting them, but hitting the ground beside Ella's foot. Dominic grabbed her and pulled her against him, shielding her completely. A voice echoed through the silent district. Smooth. Calm. Chilling. Voice from above. Brother, you really brought her here? To this place? Ella froze. Dominic's eyes widened, not in fear, but in disbelief. The voice laughed softly. Turn around. Let her see the man who wants her life. Ella clutched Dominic's coat, shaking. Dominic turned slowly. And on the rooftop of the opposite building, standing in the golden afternoon sun, was a man with the same jawline, same posture, same cold confidence. Dominic's brother. The real ghost. A man long presumed dead. His rifle hung casually at his side. His smile was dark, cruel, familiar. Ghost. Hello, little brother. Ella's fingers trembled against Dominic's back. Dominic didn't blink, didn't move, didn't breathe. Dominic whispered to Ella, stay behind me. No matter what. The ghost tilted his head. Ghost! Oh, come on, Dominic. She deserves to know why she's marked. Why that dot was aimed at her. And why I'll take her before the sun sets. Ella gasped. Dominic's blood went cold. He stepped forward, voice shaking with a rare kind of terror. Dominic. Don't touch her. The ghost laughed. And then he aimed his rifle. Not at Dominic. At Ella. Ella had never seen a gun aimed at her before. Not like this. Not by someone who looked so much like Dominic. Not with a smile so calm it felt colder than the barrel itself. The ghost, Dominic's brother, stood on the rooftop across the cracked street, sunlight glinting off his rifle like it was mocking the day itself. Dominic stepped in front of Ella instantly, shielding her with his entire body. Dominic low, steady. Put the rifle down. The ghost chuckled. You still think you get to give me orders? He adjusted his grip, the rifle now resting comfortably on his shoulder, like aiming at Ella was the same as aiming at a harmless target. Ella's breath hitched. Her fingers clutched the back of Dominic's coat. Dominic didn't move. His voice was soft but deadly. Dominic, she has nothing to do with this. The ghost raised a brow. That's where you're wrong, brother. He tapped the rifle lightly, making the sunlight dance. Ghost! She saw what she shouldn't. She heard what she shouldn't. And worst of all, he smirked. Ghost! She made you hesitate. Dominic's jaw tightened. Ella whispered behind him, voice trembling. Ella. Dominic, he won't really. Dominic firm. I won't let him touch you. But the ghost heard her. He always heard everything. He tilted his head like he was examining an interesting painting. You're shaking, little artist. Don't worry, death is quick. Ella's eyes filled. Dominic felt her fear like a blade pressed to his own throat. The ghost raised the rifle. Dominic moved. Ella gasped when he stepped out of the direct line of fire, not away from her, but sideways, drawing attention deliberately to himself, putting himself in the kill zone. Ghost laughing loudly. You always were dramatic. Dominic didn't blink. Dominic, you want me. Not her. The ghost shrugged. You both die anyway. She's just first. He steadied the rifle. Ella squeezed her eyes shut. Dominic's heart slammed against his ribs. Then, a soft click. The sound meant the ghost placed his finger fully on the trigger. Dominic grabbed Ella's wrist. Dominic, when I say run. The ghost fired. The bullet tore through the air, but right before it reached Ella's head, Dominic shoved her down behind a rusted pillar. Metal dust exploded around them. Ella screamed, covering her ears. Another shot rang out, this one so close it split the brick inches from Dominic's face. Ella looked up, eyes full of terror. Ella, he's going to kill us. Dominic didn't answer. He grabbed her hand and pulled her through the alley, running so fast her legs barely kept up. Bullets chased them, kicking up dirt, slicing through broken signs, snapping old wires overhead. Dominic turned sharply, pulling Ella behind a shattered car. The ghost's voice echoed between the dead buildings. Ghost singing. You can run. But I don't get tired, brother. Dominic clenched his teeth. He whispered to Ella, Dominic, keep your head down. Stay quiet. Ella trembled, tears streaking through dust on her cheeks. Ella. Why is he doing this? He's your brother. Dominic looked away, breathing hard. Dominic, he wasn't always like this. Ella shook her head. Ella. Then what happened? Dominic's voice dropped to a whisper so broken she nearly didn't recognize it. Dominic, I left him to die. Ella's heart stuttered. Dominic kept talking, each word pulled from a wound that never healed. Dominic, we were ambushed years ago. I got out. He didn't. I thought he died because of me. Ella touched his arm, eyes softening. But Dominic shook his head. Dominic, he lived. And the man who saved him poisoned him with lies, turned him into this. Dominic's hands shook for the first time. Dominic, now he wants to make me feel what he felt. Ella whispered. Ella, that's why he wants to kill me, because losing me would hurt you. Dominic froze. She was right. His brother wasn't just aiming for blood. He was aiming for Dominic's heart. Dominic looked at her, voice raw. Dominic, I won't lose you. Not today. A shot cracked so close Ella fell back. Dominic grabbed her and pulled her behind him again. Ghost mocking. Hiding behind her won't save her. Dominic cursed under his breath. They couldn't stay here. He scanned the street, the rooftops, the debris, searching for anything to use. Then he saw it. A ventilation shaft leading into the underground service tunnels. He pointed. Dominic. There. Inside. Now. Ella crawled through first. Dominic followed, ripping off a metal grate and pulling it shut behind him. The darkness swallowed them. The tunnel was narrow, damp, filled with echoes. Ella's breaths were loud, uneven. Dominic placed a hand on her back. Dominic, you're safe for a moment. Just breathe. But Ella shook her head. Ella. Safe? Dominic, he's your brother. He knows everywhere you could hide. Dominic paused. Not wrong. Dominic. Then we don't hide. Ella stared at him. Ella. You're going to fight him, aren't you? Dominic didn't answer. Instead, he touched her cheek gently. A strange, tender moment in a world full of terror. Dominic. Ella, if anything happens. Ella shaking her head fast. Don't say that. Don't. His eyes softened. Dominic, you changed something in me. Something I didn't think I had left. Ella felt tears fill her eyes again. Ella, please don't go out there alone. Dominic brushed a tear from her cheek with his thumb. Dominic, I have to. Ella grabbed his wrist. Ella. Dominic, he'll kill you. Dominic leaned closer. Dominic. Then I'll die fighting to keep you alive. She couldn't breathe. He was serious. He was willing to die for her. Before she could speak, a metallic clink echoed down the tunnel. Both froze. Something rolled toward them. Ella's eyes widened. Ella. Dominic, is that? He didn't let her finish. He grabbed her and threw her backward just as the object burst into blinding smoke. A gas grenade. Ella coughed violently, choking. Dominic ripped off his jacket and wrapped it around her face. Dominic, hold on to me. He pulled her through the smoke, stumbling, eyes burning, lungs shrinking. A shadow appeared through the haze. The ghost, walking calmly, unaffected, mask over his face. His voice echoed, distorted by the mask. Ghost! You brought her to the district of ghosts, Dominic. But this is my district now. Dominic shoved Ella behind a support pillar and stepped forward, fists clenched. Dominic, leave her out of this. The ghost tilted his head. You always protect the wrong people. He raised his gun and fired. Dominic lunged, tackling him. The two brothers crashed into the wall, grunting, fists swinging. Ella screamed. Dust rained from the ceiling as they fought. Raw, brutal, years of buried hatred exploding all at once. Dominic slammed his brother into the ground. The ghost reversed, pinning Dominic with a forearm to his throat. Ghost snarling. You left me to die. Dominic choking. I thought you were dead. The ghost pressed harder. Ghost! You didn't come back. Ella ran toward them. Ella! Stop. Both of you. But the ghost pulled a knife and pressed it against Dominic's ribs. Ella's scream tried to tear the tunnel apart. Ella. N.O. The ghost looked up, eyes dark. Ghost. You're next. He pulled back the knife, and Ella did the one thing neither brother expected. She threw herself between them. The ghost froze, shock ripping across his face. Dominic's heart stopped. Ella crying. If you want him, you go through me. Both men were stunned. The ghost blinked. For a moment, a tiny moment, something human flickered in his eyes. Recognition, regret, confusion. And then, the ceiling above them cracked. The entire tunnel shook violently. Dominic grabbed Ella. The ghost jumped back. Dust exploded. Pipes snapped. The roof began to collapse. Dominic pulled Ella toward the exit ladder. Dominic, climb Ella. Climb NOW. She climbed. He followed. The ghost, instead of shooting, ran in the opposite direction as the tunnel caved in. The last thing Ella heard was his voice echoing. This isn't over, brother. Then the tunnel collapsed. Dominic and Ella burst through the surface, coughing, covered in dust. The sun hit their faces. Warm, bright, alive. Ella collapsed into Dominic's chest, shaking. He held her tightly, so tightly it hurt. Dominic breathing hard. It's over for now. Ella pulled back, tears sliding down. Ella. He'll come back. Dominic nodded slowly. Dominic, I know. But then he cupped her face with both hands. Dominic. And when he does, I won't let him take you. Ella's lips trembled. Ella. Dominic, thank you for saving me. He shook his head gently. Dominic. No, Ella. You saved me. She held his gaze. He held hers. And for the first time all day, the sunlight felt like hope.